get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Hey, Thrive Loud listeners, Lou Diamond here. Welcome to a special Thrive Loud Minisode featuring Nathalie Molina Niño. Nathalie is an investor and tech globalization veteran focused on high-growth businesses that benefit women and the planet. When she came on the show last year, it was at the time of the launch of her first book, Leapfrog, the new revolution for women's entrepreneurs. And she is a serial entrepreneur and an incredible investor and is doing so many different things that it's always amazing the pace that she's at. During this interview, I actually wanted to feature and ask her, has she ever had time to more or less smell the roses and really appreciate what she does? And I kind of wanted to decode how this incredible individual is thriving. So you're going to enjoy this little outtake from our original interview that took place last year. And be on the lookout, as we'll probably communicate some of the news that Nathalie has coming up over the next several months as she's doing some rebranding and relaunching of some new initiatives. Really exciting stuff going on in the world of Nathalie Molina Niño. But now let's go back in time to a year ago and hear how she truly thrives loud. Do you look back at all these steps that you've done, and do you continue to realize how proud you must be of everything and the successes that are just continuing to come along with you? Because sometimes when you're on the ride, you're so busy doing all these things, you miss out on appreciating what's going on. Do you appreciate how impressive all of this is and how cool it is?
No. I'm sorry, but what would I be waking up excited to do if I was so self-satisfied with what I've done? No.
Well,
no.
But there's nothing wrong with all
is there's always more, right?
Yes. I was going to say that still doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that you should be proud and happy each day within it, because that's obviously what drives you. Obviously, it's never going to make you settle. I'm not saying you're going to stop. In fact, you have no off button. For the Thrive Loud listeners out there, to actually get her in one location for more than like 6 hours is logistically amazing, because she's constantly dealing with so many different, whether from charitable causes to the Brava investment focuses to promoting the book that just came out. I mean, it's amazing that being able to sit still. Of course, you're not going to sit still, but I hope that you're smiling every now and then, because you do. You are a good selfie smiler. You have the art of holding the phone out and getting everybody in and, communicating it out.
There has to be joy
yes.
in all of it, right? There has to be. And I think that especially, as I've gotten older and I've realized that, life is short and we're not all going to live forever. In fact, none of us are going to live forever, although I know some people are trying to fix that. But, it's really important. And things that didn't feature prominently in my early career, like I don't know how you feel about vulgarity, but
yeah, we're allowed. It's all allowed. We're allowed to be as vulgar as fucking possible.
All right. The no asshole rule was not real prominent in my list of priorities when I was 25. And, it is now. It's rule number 1, in fact. And so, there's joy, but I will say this. I probably am guilty of not stopping and appreciating sort of where I've come from enough. But my family is oftentimes a reminder of that. There are moments. I gave my first keynote last year in Ecuador, which is my home country, and I gave it in Spanish, which I've never done a formal business keynote entirely in Spanish. And that was my first time, and to have it happen in Ecuador and to have my dad be in the audience and all of these sort of moments. And it was for Planned Parenthood, who is an organization that I adore and that I'm partnered with. And to be talking about this issue of investing in women, and it was like on so many levels, it was this moment where I had to, the moment just presented itself, and I had to stop and pinch myself and think, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. This is what life's all about, right?
Nathalie, when I ask every Thrive Loud guest this question, and I'm very curious to hear the answer of this one, when you have trouble thriving, who do you turn to get back on the thriving track? More specifically, do you have a personal sensei that you seek out?
The answer is yes, I do. Okay. And what's funny is nobody knows about her. In fact, the only people who do are probably on my staff because they see her as a recurring meeting in my calendar. And the reality is I have multiple. And the one thing that they all have in common is that I look for people who are so radically different and in radically different industries that have absolutely nothing to do with what I do on a daily basis, that they can mirror to me a whole different perspective on life and on the goings on of my day to day. But my number one point person was somebody who I used to see. She's sort of a coach, therapist kind of person. I started seeing her back in 2009, and we got into the habit of like just checking in, sometimes even twice a year, like not with any frequency or regularity. But the day that I formed Brava Investments, it occurred to me that if I'm going to accomplish what I'm going to accomplish with this and the book and the various different projects that I had, I'm going to have to look at my performance the way that a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete looks at their performance. I have to be in top form, and that means physically, that means emotionally, mentally. And she worked with Steve Jobs in the last 6 months of his life. Oh. She is a Zen practitioner, and she's a coach and therapist and all of these different things. And when I formed Brava, I reached out to her and I said, from here on forward, I would like to meet with you on a weekly basis because you're a part of how I perform optimally. And I've been seeing her every week ever since.
And obviously that's awesome. And because those that recognize that are those that truly thrive. And I always say are the ones who truly thrive loudly, because they're the ones who recognize that you did. To be a top performer, you always got to be on your top of your game with everything. And that's powerful and not really surprising, because I'm just utterly impressed with you every time I hang out with you.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. Check us out and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, or head on over to thriveloud.com. And while you're there, click the Get Connected link to learn more about upcoming shows, special events, and other great promotions coming from Thrive Loud.